Welcome back to the Aren't You Glad I Said It podcast. I'm your host, Brandon, back with another episode here for you guys. And Derek's back with us again, man. Appreciate you in the studio, my guy.
Thank you for having me again.
Yeah, you already know what it
Feels
is,
like
man.
home.
Yeah, right? It is home.
Yeah, right.
It's been a while, man. We took a little hiatus, guys. Just got back into the country a little less than a week ago. Just getting situated, getting back to it. Spent like 10 days in Portugal, 7 days in Portugal, 3 days in Madrid, and stretched my legs a little bit, man. It's fun. It's fun. But I actually did something I don't ever do, which is like I think I have probably, and I'm not even joking. Like between the camera, the GoPro, my phone's camera, I probably have about, I want to say like 500 pictures and videos.
Perfect.
Like
That's what you should do so you can go back and relive those moments.
right, I'm used to being in the moment when I travel so much that it felt weird at times. Like, and then I'm traveling and it was places that I forgot to pull out my phone still and like, all right, let me just snap a picture. Let me see what this is or get a picture. But like, I feel like I have enough now to where it's like to edit the footage for a vlog. Is no way I'm really even gonna consider everything. I'm just gonna go through and grab like
Try to get your highlights.
20% of what I enjoyed and just like keep that. And even along the way, like I was like deleting stuff, getting rid of it. Like, yo, you know what? Throw this out, get this out of the way. Like, I'm not gonna keep this.
Sound like you was living like a tourist out there though.
Oh, dude, it
With
was
the camera
crazy.
out.
It was honestly, it was one of those. It was a great experience because like my initial reason for going, like we talked about it before. Like I'm looking for places, or I should say, like countries where I want to like actually move to. I don't want to just. Nothing wrong with America, the U.S. Like I plan to always have residency here, but like I want to be able to have that opportunity to say, like, you know what, it's feeling like a Portugal winter. Like, and I'm just out, just go chill,
Go to the place, the villa.
kick it there. Yeah, just enjoy myself. Right. And so it was good because after seeing everything I saw, I feel like it's still on my list of like my short list of places that I want to go to. Like next is Norway. Start planning that. Buy the tickets like pretty much by the end of the month.
I got to get in on that one.
And yeah, so like I've been looking at some stuff, but I think I want to do probably about 7 days, maybe a little less. And so I'm gonna figure that one out too. But Norway, I was gonna do Italy, but I don't know if I'm in a rush to get back to that kind of area of Europe right now. I feel like I kind of experienced it a little bit.
Southern Europe.
Yeah, kind of felt like I already did it. I'm thinking more like I might jump across the ocean.
See something a little different. I get what you're saying. Get a different vibe.
Something else.
Even though it's not the same, but
similar.
So I guess my question for you, because I know you was something you was looking forward to, what was like the one like highlight? I know it's probably hard to like take it all in and narrow it down to one thing, but like what would you say one of your highlights of the trip was, other than validating, potentially moving there?
I would say I have a few that I feel like were really like interesting. Like I would say I've had a few highlights that are good and a few that are bad. Like so, in terms of good, I'll start there first just to keep the positive thing going. Like the prices and cost of living like was super cheap.
Okay.
Like at one point we went to the grocery store and got like I think it was 4 pork chops for like $6.
4 pork chops?
4 pork chops.
Sheesh.
Just the local supermarket, not like the local hole in the wall. Like the
That's
local
insane.
supermarket in the middle of we were in downtown Madrid. Like they tell everybody to go to Plaza de Mayor.
Okay.
I think it's called Plaza de Mayor. I'm gonna put it down.
That's the local grocery store?
Plaza de Mayor is like
or is that an area?
It's like the Times Square area.
Okay.
It's like that's the spot where all the shops are, or the stores, everything you want to do like at nighttime. And I have some pictures. I'm probably gonna put some pictures in right now so you guys can see it. But like when I tell you like it's lit up, it's thousands of people down in this area.
Okay,
like,
so it's the place
spot.
to be then.
Yeah,
Gotcha,
so like imagine $6 pork chops.
Right.
And so like it's crazy being out in Portugal and Madrid. And Madrid was slightly more expensive than Portugal, but I see they have their things that they're expensive with, like gas is kind like $2 a liter, which is like $6 a gallon here equates to, which is nuts.
It's cheaper than California.
It's California's higher than $6.
California, I think, was like $6.49 or something like that. They might be on their way back down, but not too long ago they were over $6.
Jeez, yeah, Cali, no. Uh, but it's crazy though because like I was telling you before, like the Uber is like it was like $4 every 10 minutes. So it was like realistically, and I'm not even one to ever have really said this. Like I always think a car is decent to have, but literally in downtown Lisbon in Portugal, you don't need to just get a car.
Okay.
Madrid was slightly more expensive on Uber, and by slightly I mean like literally like less than 5% more.
What do
expensive.
people have out there? A lot of Vespas or like scooters or like bikes
Yeah.
and stuff.
Scooters.
Is it an e-bike craze over there like it is here, or?
Bro, scooters are the wave. Like not even like just this, like the Apollo that I have.
Yeah,
You can rent scooters on the street like everywhere.
like Vespas.
No, you can rent like the scooters like I have.
Okay.
Like the cheaper versions, but like, you know, just like a little simple $500 scooter that they have out. You can rent those and ride around the city, and there's thousands of them just on like every street corner.
Oh wow. Okay.
But the people riding like the big boy scooters, like the Vespers. Like,
Okay.
That's everything out there. Even e-bikes. Like when I order Uber Eats at times,
Mm-hmm.
everybody
Anyone
pulled
e-bike?
up e-bike or Vesper. Like
Wow.
no one pulled up on Uber Eats with a car. Like
Right.
it made so much sense because as someone who's tried doing Uber Eats, I'm not saying Uber Eats is trash, y'all, but it's it's one of those things like you would say if it was a McDonald's order, I would like drive 5 minutes to get to the McDonald's from where I was. Then I'd wait in line if it's nighttime for McDonald's, 10, 15 minutes, sometimes 20. Then drive 10 to 15 minutes.
To drop the food off
All in total, Uber's gonna pay you like $3.77.
for an hour of your time, almost.
Damn, it's at least 30 minutes.
Right.
Every Uber Eats meal or drop off was like 30 minutes of waiting.
That's crazy.
And it's like, yo, for 30 minutes to get $3.77 and then pray for a tip. And what are they gonna tip you? They order McDonald's.
What, $1.50?
So,
if
yeah,
they,
those
if
aren't
they
the
opt
people
not
that's-
to tip you. You know?
Yeah, they're not really tipping. They saving. They on the value menu.
Right.
They value menu dinner, so they gonna value menu your tip. $1, $2. And I'm not hating on that. Tip what you can, and I appreciate it. And I tip what I can. I never just tip $1, $2.
My biggest thing is though, don't go somewhere expecting a service and don't expect to give something. You know what I'm saying? You got to tip.
Exactly.
That's a necessity. Or stay ass at home. Or don't order Uber Eats.
Because the people serving you, I feel like to me, I feel obligated to tip. And that was something we actually had to look up in Portugal. It's like, yo, like,
What, the culture of it?
right, what is it offensive if we tip these people? Are they going to take it this way where it's like, what you trying to say?
Right.
Like, we didn't want to get that, like, and we didn't think about it to actually
But
the first
was it accepted
restaurant. Yeah, everyone
Okay.
did.
And very
like,
encouraged, I'm sure, then, right?
So then, so one of the dislikes, right, was while it was low cost living for us as Americans coming there, they're like poor. And I'm not saying all of Portugal's poor, like, but where we were in Lisbon, like we spoke to a lot of local people, and everyone kind of had that same drumbeat of people are moving here, and like a big thing we heard is like people from other European countries that are high cost living, they're moving in
Because it's cheap, right?
after they retire, right? So they have like, you know, $500 to $1 million in you know, or euros or whatever the equivalence is in their account, and so they can move there and they can afford things.
Right.
Versus the people living there, those guys are making like an Uber every 10 minutes was like $4. To give an example of like, I'm talking about what the ride costs us.
Right.
You know how when you see the Uber price, it's the price that it costs you, but then Uber takes its cut from that.
Right.
So you got to think, if I'm being charged $4 for this 10 minutes,
Then what is he actually making?
my gosh,
What, like $1?
Uber doesn't
Something like that, right?
Uber doesn't take the lion's share. I will admit that. I don't want to slight Uber after having done it. They're not robbing people with their share that they're taking, but what's robbery is the cost of gas there and how much they're charging.
Right.
Like, and it's weird though because even during the pandemic, like after we went through everything here, like if you try to catch an Uber, if you notice, like from like 3 years ago, Uber's going up here.
Right.
Because like literally we pay more for everything.
Like I told you when I was down in Charlotte, when I went to go Uber, or I actually canceled the ride because I wasn't paying $55 to go 12 minutes up the road. You know, I think that was maybe 2 miles. No way, no, Jose, no way.
That's crazy because we were just like from the airport, it was $9 and it was 22 minutes. We hit a little traffic. and it's like, dang.
$9 for a 22-minute ride.
Yeah, it was like 873, 943. Sometimes it'd be a little
Sheesh.
higher, lower. Like, but I mean, it was crazy because we drove through like 3 neighborhoods. Like, it went right after the airport, upper middle class, poor, and then downtown Lisbon, which is like a smattering of like everything.
And is that where you guys stayed? Was downtown Lisbon?
Yo, one thing I will say, and I'll post the links to these Airbnb hosts in the description below. Yo, I picked the right Airbnbs.
Yeah.
I picked the right ones in terms of location.
Okay.
Now, if you don't want the Airbnbs, they're not like super fancy Airbnbs, but like location, you couldn't beat it. Like the first location, although it was on the 5th floor, be prepared for that.
Oh, there's no elevators, right?
Oh my gosh, yo, when we first got there, crazy.
Wait. Were you expecting an elevator?
No.
And did you know you were on the 5th floor?
Yes.
Okay.
I read all the comments, so I looked at probably like 200 Airbnbs trying to figure this whole thing out because I wanted one like
gotta get the best
a
one.
little bit of balcony.
Yeah.
Turns out standing balconies are like a prerequisite everywhere you go in the building, so it's like they're easy to come across actually.
Okay, cool.
They don't really do like big balconies where you can sit like a table and chairs.
It's just like enough for a chair or for you to stand.
Yeah,
though, right?
or like a small table. You know how like the one I used to have in the dining room, like that small little 2-person
Put like your little tea on there
coffee
or
table
something.
type. Yeah,
Right.
it's like that. And so, but yeah, they have that sort of deal. And but like so that's standard. But in the comments, everybody was like, "Yo, it's the 5th floor. I hate it here. It's crazy. Once you get home, you're not gonna want to leave." I will admit that. Cause
You're saying once you get back to the Airbnb, you don't want to leave to go back out.
we did.
You didn't?
We did, but we was out the whole day. Like
Right.
we literally would leave at like 9:30, 10 in the morning, which is another funny thing. It's not because we're super late risers. We get there the first day. I head up the stairs to the 5th floor with my heavy suitcase. Keys not in the drop box. So I call the lady, hey, it's not here. She's like, okay, I'll get somebody over there. Head back downstairs. I'm like, yo, let's head up the block. Literally, within like a 30-second walk, it's a square, 2 museums, and it's 4 restaurants.
Oh,
like
wow.
an old school bookstore. I did not know all of this stuff was literally right there. We were right there.
That's super convenient.
And so, yeah. And
especially being in a different country.
oh, my gosh.
Not really knowing anything, language barriers at times, and then you got to figure out the Uber. Luckily, you said it was $9 for 20 minutes.
Yeah, it was, man. So it was nice because we didn't actually Uber everywhere. We walked a lot of places.
Did you get any scooters?
Yep, we rented scooters and
Nice.
we toured the cities. We rented bikes and we toured Madrid.
Dope.
But we did a lot of walking.
That's how you're supposed to do it.
Yo, we did 6 miles a day.
Yeah, Avery was telling me about the hills. He was like, just say, Avery, like, if I gotta ever see another hill in my life, I'm good.
Yo, listen. Oh, she's been in Portugal?
Well, no, she's Facebook.
Oh, okay. Yeah, yo. It's not easy to understand it until you're there. I honestly don't know how you can get old or be disabled in Portugal.
Right.
Everything's a cobblestone street, so
It
your
probably-
wheelchair
it-
not going over.
It probably keep you young out there, though, because everybody's probably walking, too.
No, you can't be. Like, that's what I'm trying to tell you. Like, it was no fat people. I was like the fattest guy out there. I was like, yo, if I stay here another week, I'm gonna be skinny.
Right.
Like, we was like legit 6 miles. That was standard. It was every day we walked about 6 miles, and it didn't feel crazy because even the food was fresher, and it felt like it wasn't weighing us down.
And I'm sure it was scenic as well. It's one thing if you're sitting there just walking around a track doing 6 miles, it gets boring. You're looking at the same trees, same people, whatever. But for you, and I assume like the scenes was changing. So I'm sure like as you're walking, like you said, you was in the plaza, or you might go down an old street and see different architecture, or be near the beach, or smell something different, hear something different. So it definitely breaks up that monotony.
It was, and because it's all new. Like obviously, if you live there, then you probably
It become
treat it like it's
monotonous.
But for us, it was new. One thing I will say, like everything kind of feels like an old street.
Okay.
There is like a business district that we passed through a couple times on the way from the airport to downtown Lisbon. But it was like where we were, where most people live, is not modern.
Okay.
Like they didn't have elevators because everybody was like, oh, it's earthquake, this, earthquake. I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, earthquakes here, huh? that's a negative. I don't know if I'm moving here.
Right.
Turns out the earthquake was like 7,500 years ago.
Oh shoot.
I'm like,
Okay. That
yo,
sound like us then. We
somebody
do for
put the
one
elevator in.
any moment we do.
Oh my gosh, it's crazy, bro. It was one of those, like, it was weird to hear them keep talking about it because we went to the
No, this
museum.
is Portugal or Spain?
This is Portugal.
Okay.
We went to the museum to find out about the earthquake. It was actually, we went to the currency museum,
Okay.
which was super interesting.
Shout out to hospital.
Yeah, but yeah, nah, it was great, man. So I'm gonna drop the vlog on it, man, and get more in depth, and then like show more visuals and some like
Gotcha.
videos. So
Look
you know,
forward to
guys,
seeing that. Check it out. Check it out.
Check that out. But today, man, I figured we talk about free speech, man, because one thing I will say, being there, you know me, I'm not like a super social media guru or news watcher, but I felt disconnected from what's been going on in America in like the best way possible.
I was gonna
Like,
say it's gotta be a good feeling.
oh man, it was like coming back. I kind of felt like I got hit with it, and it was like, man, I realized, and I feel like I don't watch it that much, but I realized like, man, it's kind of been weighing on me a little bit, and it was nice to have this break from it. But I did watch a couple of the political debates, and I realized I found myself watching them like for entertainment, and it was like weird. So free speech. We get into like the other free speech portion, but I just want to talk about this election because right now, while we're recording this, this is Tuesday, the 8th. So it is election night here in America, across the states. Senatorial, governor, some other positions that I don't know what their functions are. Maybe comptroller tonight. If any comptrollers ever want to tell the rest of the world, which I do. No, I'm just joking, but
I have no idea.
I really don't know what they do. But whatever y'all do, keep doing it because it's running the country. But no, seriously, it's election night, and so. But I guess that joke kind of even leads me into what I'm saying is, how important do you think voting? Like, how is it really? How important is voting really?
That's a really good question. I know the answer. I don't really have a direct answer for that. I think people would say that voting is as important as how much the policy changes and all those things affect them. I feel like there's a lot of people here in America, especially, even people that I know that decide not to vote because they feel like, for instance, let's just say they always vote one party and that party always loses. And they're like, well, I guess my vote didn't matter anyway. What did I vote for anyway?
It's defeating.
Or, you got some people that vote, let's just say they're in favor of like democratic policies for like social support, social aid, like all that kind of stuff. If the Democrats are in power or the Republicans are in power and they're voting one way for policies or for taxes or whatever, I think voting, I guess long story short, I think voting is important. I think it's a right that, people have fought for, years and years and years ago during the civil rights movement to give us the ability to. I just don't know if our vote necessarily has that much of an impact on change. I feel like the agenda is going to be whatever the agenda is going to be. So if you vote, I feel like at some point it's going to just be what it's going to be, whether somebody votes or not.
But do you mean that, so like you said, like in terms of change, right? Do you mean like day to day, or are you thinking more like big picture, like years from now, like, or like when you say that it's not going to have that impact, or you think like at all?
I think that's my statement was more like long term. I think under the grand scheme of it, I think whatever direction we're going to move in as a country, I feel like we're going to move that way regardless. But I do feel like a lot of people think that their vote doesn't matter because they don't see that change on a day-to-day basis. It's like, for instance, a few years ago, man, what couple years old was Obama? 08? When he was running 14 years ago now, which is crazy. People were expecting to see change right away. That was actually one of his slogans, and so they felt like, okay, well, I still woke up, I still checked my bank account, I still have this certain amount of money in there. I still go
Yeah, he
to
said
this.
no stimulus checks.
Yeah,
Obama. What's up with that? Nah,
I still go to the same job. I still come home to the same house. I still have the same struggles and stresses that I have that are caused by my current situation. I had all this hope and belief that you were going to bring change, and you didn't. And now, you know what I'm saying. So
Oh
I
yeah,
guess I feel like
that's it's.
the mass of people look at it from a day to day perspective, where I'm looking at more like a long term.
I agree. I don't think this. I don't think that people. I think some people tend to be unreasonable as well when they with change they expect. Like I can see that because I thought it was ludicrous that people thought change meant tomorrow,
A lot of
and it
people
was
do.
like, dang. Well, how could he change it tomorrow? Nothing
Right.
in politics moves tomorrow.
Right.
Plus, most things tend to be okay. It's a vote, right? And so, even talking about the election tonight is, or yeah, the election tonight. It's for senators, governors, things like that, which I think actually are the most important positions.
For sure, they have the
And
most direct effect on us.
yeah, in this case, because I agree with the presidential, I also don't think our votes mean as much. Like I heard someone make a statement in one of these podcasts or political shows where they were stating basically Republicans want to change our ability to vote for the president and make it more legislative. And I was like, well, we already don't vote for the president.
Right.
Donald Trump lost the popular and still won the electoral college.
Right.
As a Democrat, I feel like you should know these things if you're going to espouse this point.
Right.
Like, it's crazy because both sides will say crazy stuff. And I guess that leads me into like the whole two-party system because I feel like ultimately that's where we're being fractured. And it's so crazy because it's like dealing with two extremes.
Yeah, it is.
It's like
And
if
there's a
you
lot
hear
of
the story,
confusion in between.
it's so much confusion because, it's so much confusion when I think it shouldn't be in the middle because it's like the story of the Three Little Bears where the porridge is too cold, it's too hot,
just right.
and just right, and
Yeah.
it's like we're all forgetting that there's a just right, porridge.
The perfect balance.
May not be the best. Somebody might like theirs a little colder. Someone might like theirs a little hotter. But there's one that's just right in the middle.
For the majority, I
Right.
think
It doesn't
is
mean
what we need.
perfect, or they
Right.
would have said perfect in the story. The story is just right, like just
I
right
can
in the middle.
tolerate this.
Yeah, like I can deal with this. And so even thinking about that, like whole two-party fracturing, because I think it's very divisive. It's divisive in a point where like I even have like family members and people that I'm cool with, and I don't care what your political affiliation is personally. Like I accept that we live in a country where you're going to have a difference of opinion.
Right.
It can't be a situation where everything that affects you affects me the exact same way.
Right. It
We
can't.
live in two different lives. We don't
exactly.
work at the same place. We don't have the same money in our pockets and our bank accounts.
Right.
We don't travel to the same places.
Some
we
may
don't.
have, some may not have kids. You know, all those different things.
Yeah, I'm not married. I'm a single man without children. And so, like, my life is going to be different from what someone else might need.
Exactly.
Somebody might be on disability. Somebody might have a back issue. They might have a chronic thing where they can't work, where they
Right.
can't drive, where they, you know what I mean? Everything is different, so I respect it. But I think this concept of hot and cold,
Yeah.
left and right,
Yeah.
is just so wild to me. And in watching the debates, it's never been more prevalent. But what's never been more prevalent as well is the options between the candidates being both terrible. Like I kid you not, this is the first time, and maybe I just started watching debates, and that's why not just started watching debates, but I've never watched this many in an election before.
Right.
Nah, I've never watched this many state debates. And when I tell you, I am very disappointed. I am very disappointed to see that nothing is changing. I mean, look at the Georgia debate between Raphael Warnock and Herschel Walker. Like, for anyone who hasn't watched it, it's just right on YouTube. It's free. It's a good hour. I had to choose at one point between watching Vikings on Netflix and watching this debate. This debate won. It was so entertaining.
I was gonna say it sounded like entertainment.
Oh my gosh! First of all, it's like the dumbest thing ever for someone who has to say something really important to only give them an hour. Now, you said you watched you was watching the rally last night, right? It's like probably your first time ever watching it, because I know most people don't.
It's been a while, but yeah.
I tuned in and caught snippets.
That's what I did last
But
night
those
too.
rallies be too long
Yeah,
sometimes.
like 3 hours sometimes.
Oh my gosh, I watched an Obama rally before when he was running,
Mm-hmm.
and it was like 3 hours. I watched a Trump one before, and it was like 3 hours. Watched a Hillary one, it's like 3 hours. It's like, man, I got me for 45
I'm
minutes.
snoozing.
But, so you telling me those things could be 3 hours, 4 hours in the debate when the whole world's gonna tune in to hear both candidates?
This might be my deciding factor on who I choose.
We have 40 minutes with commercials, an hour, and it's like, yo, y'all realize this is kind of stupid.
Yeah.
It's just stupid to tell somebody you have 15 seconds to respond. On what planet?
On a question I've never heard before.
They have, I just want to be clear, everybody, they have less time to respond than somebody who putting out a diss track.
And if you had a stroke, it's going to take you even longer.
Oh my God, we'll get there. We'll get the Strokey McGee. We'll get there. We're not talking about the owner of the Patriots. What's the dude name? Is it Bill Belichick? Or is that the coach?
That's the coach. That's the coach.
Who's Strokey McGee for the Patriots? Well, y'all know who I'm talking about. Those Patriot fans. I'm sorry. I didn't enlist him. I didn't tell him what to do. He was having his own type of fun. But it's a different type of stroke.
That's Kraft. Mr.
Kraft.
Yeah.
Robert Kraft,
Yeah,
is it? Yeah. You know what his nickname is.
Mr. Happy Ending.
Yeah, right. He out there getting it done. Well, somebody else is getting it done. He already got it done. But this Georgia debate, man, between Warnock and Walker, it's literally like the lesser of two evils. Like, as I'm watching the debate, first of all, Herschel Walker.
Yeah.
I have no problem with ex-sports players, football players. Clearly, the concussions have gotten to this man.
I haven't heard no good things about him.
He sounds worse than Charles Barkley trying to communicate.
That's exactly who I was going to compare him to.
My God, Charles Barkley sucks.
Yeah.
Charles Barkley sounds like someone who escaped the speech pathology center, and they've been looking for him for at least 12 years, and they just can't find him. They can't find him because he's doing regular people stuff.
Right. Just blended right in, huh?
We've looked everywhere for him. In coal mines and other places people with speech impediments might work.
You forgot to turn the TV on.
Yep, you forgot he's talking for a living. That's why you can't find him.
I think he just got an extra $200 million too. Shit.
I ain't hating on the man. Charles Barkley might be one of the dumbest people ever to hit television.
Sound like one of the smartest to me.
Oh, business-wise? Yeah, sure. That's nothing wrong with that. I'm just talking about, like, his opinions. He has the dumbest opinions ever.
Doubt.
Like,
an awful golf swing.
Oh, my gosh. I ain't want to get in that hitch. Either way, Herschel Walker, he's like the football version of Charles Barkley.
Sheesh.
Morphed into a more square, kind of more in shape body. It's like, that's all he has, though.
Yeah.
That's the only difference. He took 1 too many, 3 too many hits. I don't know what the number is, but it was too many.
I think he was playing when they had leather caps.
Did he wear his? He was that kid who didn't like to wear his cup.
He didn't like it that either.
Man, I'm telling you, but listening to him speak is crazy. Like, pulling out a fake sheriff's badge just because the sheriffs endorse you. Like, what type of childish stuff is that? But I think it's crazy because this is who an entire state has to look to and say, all right, well, I'm Republican. This is the guy you're giving me.
It's the only option I have.
I'm going to roll with him. And it's nothing against ex-athletes, but just because you were famous or did something famous does not qualify you to run a state.
I think that's what I was saying with the confusion earlier too. Just because like with the two-party system, when you brought that up, it's like, okay, I'm not hot, I'm not cold, I'm right in the middle, I'm gray, right? Yeah. I'm not red, I'm not blue, I'm gray. Okay, so what's my option for gray? You get what I'm saying? Like for somebody that wakes up that day, or it's like, well, I'm Republican. I don't like the Republican candidate, and I damn sure ain't voting Democrat. So then, what am I supposed to do? And then some people actually just be like, all right, well, I'm not going to do nothing. I'm not going to vote. Or, the alternative is you just have no choice but to back that person, and that forces them into office, and now we're relying on this person to make decisions for us.
How bad is it to go to the office to cast a ballot for somebody you don't trust? Mm-hmm. And it was so funny because you watched the intro of the debate with them, and it's like, who do you trust in Washington? And it's
Is
like,
that what they said?
Yeah, that's how they intro it. And it's like one of these.
One.
It's like neither. Like this guy, Walker, sounds like he's one, insincere, but two, he sounds very unqualified. And I'm the perfect person to say this because I'm a black man. just so no one else can say, "Oh, you're hating on him because he's black and he." No, he sounds unintelligent, and he doesn't sound like he's a senator. I'm sorry, it just is what it is. He sounds less professional than Donald Trump, and that's extremely hard to do because he's like one of the most unintelligent sounding people I've ever come across in speaking. Now, aside from the scandal stuff behind it, do you have Warnock on the other side? And it's like it was one point during the debate where they're just slinging back and forth with each other, saying, "Well, this guy is this and he does this." One point, Walker's like, "Oh yeah, and, Warnock, because I guess he's a pastor." He's like, "Oh, his group, him and his congregation or whatever. I guess they own some like real estate or whatever. And they have tenants." He's like, "Right now they evicted somebody."
Oh, is
for
this
owing
over
$39.
$29?
Yeah,
$30?
that's what he
Oh,
said.
this was this guy.
This was this guy. So now I'm listening. I'm like, see, and I'm gonna say what I thought in a second.
That's crazy. That reputation preceded him because I didn't even know it was him until you mentioned that. That's crazy.
What's crazy is how he responded. Now you got a couple options. You could say that's just not true. My opponent's lying.
Didn't
You
he say
could
it's like in litigation
I'm
or
not
something?
even gonna address this. This man actually did not deny it. He said it's in litigation. I could not believe it because
$30.
I'm thinking like, so no one thought you and your church crew should get together and just raise
Church.
$30.
This is church though.
This is the one time where y'all could have robbed the Tide box.
Right.
And
$30.
just reached in there, grabbed some out that building fund, and then brought it right over.
Listen,
and just,
I took my cans and bottles back the other day. I think they gave me like $7.35 or something.
He could have
Like,
called me. I never gave a political donation in my life.
that would be something I'd donate to.
But
though.
I would. So you about to evict him?
Over
Nah,
$30.
yeah. Hold on, man. Let me get my card real quick.
Right.
Y'all got Cash App? I'll
Right.
just send it to him right now.
Something.
Yeah, I'm gonna send him 60 actually.
Make sure they good for next month.
Get next month and then some dinner. You know what? I'm just gonna send a clean 100. Warnock, you gonna? I mean, what you trying to do? Match?
Right.
No. Warnock is clearly not someone. If you smoke, you shouldn't smoke with him. He's not matching. You shouldn't go out to dinner with him. He's going. He's absolutely never being like, "I got this time, guys." He's not doing that.
Thanks, buddy.
He's not doing that.
Thank you.
He's not a good friend. It sounds crazy to me that he could not outright say this is not true.
Can churches be for profit?
I was thinking that too, and then I was like, I don't even want to research this further. The fact that he just couldn't deny
It just sounds wrong all around.
It could have been Walker misspeaking. You know, he could have misspoke when he talked about Warnock, but I was like, really, how deep you want to get into this? It's like, it's $30, bro.
Yeah, right.
I can't believe this. And so this is who you got to choose from? A guy who, I mean, it's bad, man. And then you get to Pennsylvania with Strokey McGee, Fetterman versus Dr. Oz. So Fetterman, if y'all don't know, this man had a stroke. He suffered a stroke, and I have no problem with people with strokes. Do your thing. People come back from those.
Hey, I hope rehabilitate them. So
people go through things, man.
But I think there should be a time frame in between when you had your stroke, going through your rehab, before you should be trying to take public office.
Oh, but now he good. He's great. He's doing excellent. Because during the debate, they asked him if he would release his medical records,
and he said no.
Nope, not
But
releasing.
how long did it take him to say no?
About they say 15 seconds, but it felt like a minute.
Yeah, but at least 45 seconds.
They gave him grace with that answer.
I'll beat you in the middle. We'll just say 35 seconds.
When we talking about taxes, you stick to that 15, sir. We don't want you to get caught up. And so they're just so crazy when they enforce certain things. It's wild to see these debates, but like this man has literally, he misses words and sentences. He doesn't string them together properly. They even put a teleprompter up with the words so he can have captions, so he wouldn't miss what's being asked of him. So he could take a second and read it and then respond.
Okay, so we don't know what part of his brain the stroke affects, and we don't know if he has clear vision on both his eyes. But they want him to read a teleprompter.
They want us to spend
process it,
yeah,
and then verbalize what he's reading.
What's he gonna do when they have debates on the Senate floor? Is he gonna have a translator, a typer? Are we gonna pay for this too? It's because he won't take the subscribed amount of time to get his brain functioning back to a high level.
There's something wrong.
Let's not say high.
Yeah, just functioning.
For him, he didn't have a job. He ran for mayor in the city unopposed. That's why he's the mayor of his city.
Oh wow.
He Dr. Oz then hit him with the this guy doesn't even know about finances. He lives on an allowance from his parents. He never bought a house. He bought a house that he lives in for $1 from his sister.
Oh wow.
I'm not knocking that.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah. That's a come up.
Get your deal.
Yeah.
But the fact that he can't, he didn't tell us any job he had. He didn't do. I feel like it should be one or two things in these debates. When someone says something false, we should stop everything.
Yeah.
Stop the timer. Stop all of that.
Fact check it.
Yes.
Yeah.
We have got to. And then not only just fact check stuff, but like say, hey, listen, we're not going to ever let you say this talking point ever again. Are you clear? If you say it again, I am going to smack you. And like hire someone to just be the smacker whenever someone says something.
Just push the button.
No, just have him right on stage and have him with the one. Get him the track.
Just to threaten them?
What's the track things when they on the track and they got their things under their feet?
Yeah, I know what you're talking
He
about.
needs those so he just be ready, hand cocked back, so he can take off with the quickness. If it's Hussein,
He's talking about the start. He's talking about the starting blocks.
Yes, the starting blocks.
Sheesh.
Get the starting blocks and get a gun would be cool too.
Yeah,
I
just
guess,
to
scare him.
pow.
Yeah,
Yeah.
just something just to let him know like your smack is coming instantly.
Maybe that's what they all need.
They clearly do because it doesn't stop there, but even bigger picture. Because then we can get in the whole Dr. Oz thing. He slid a touch. Dude's like, oh, he has 5 mansions. He sells products that may or may not hurt you, and I mean that like literally legally they have to put a disclaimer on your products.
That's
so
insane.
that's just that's just what products are.
Yeah.
But like he's profiting off of methods that are questionable. Not just my personal opinion, just questionable effective
overall,
methods.
Right.
And it's like, that's fine. People have to choose to buy those products. There's no one holding a gun to heads. But it's like, just because you were famous, again, does not qualify you to be in charge.
Well, I saw Oprah because didn't Oprah used to run his or wasn't he?
That's how I know.
It's some kind of relationship with him and Oprah, whatever. But she's not endorsing him. She's endorsing someone else.
I think, because he's Republican now. Now that he's Republican, Oprah doesn't endorse him.
I didn't realize she was
Right?
Democrat. Okay.
There's this crazy dichotomy in black celebrity where you can be friends and cool with somebody until you find out they're a different political party.
Right.
And then it's like, oh, no, I don't really like this.
You're the devil.
But you the one who sold them to black people.
Right.
You sold them to America, and then you wouldn't endorse. Anyway, I'm sidestepped that level of insane thinking. But,
it just adds to the entertainment, honestly.
It is.
That's why I keep laughing, because I'm like, yo, this is ridiculous.
I can't believe it's real.
That's what I'm saying.
I can't
believe
believe
it's a simulation.
Other countries take us serious. Mm-hmm.
I don't think they do anymore. I think once Trump really got in office and started showing his ass, I think they really was like America.
Yeah.
I'm going to just get my popcorn and watch.
That's it. I'm going to watch it burn because this is crazy. Like, we're literally at a point where I feel bad for people who feel like pressured to vote. I saw a video, and it was the most disturbing video of a mother, like, cursing her son out, like, going at him crazy.
Over who he voted for?
Yeah.
I think
she told him she wanted him to vote. Yes.
Yeah.
And she's going, oh, why would you vote for him? You wasted a vote. We need every vote we can get. And I'm thinking, for the guy who just had a stroke, who's not physically fit or mentally fit to be in office, is that who he needs to vote for? Right. Is that the guy who we want on our ballot making decisions
just
for
because
us?
of his affiliation?
That's wild to me.
Yeah.
And let's not even discuss, like, back to the whole two-party system, right? Because candidates can change every year. Next year. Senators serve 6 years. Let's say the next election, we can get senators who are qualified or seemingly qualified. At least I'll settle for these seemingly.
Seemingly, yeah.
Yeah, I remember that used to be a qualification, and that worked for me. We wouldn't know you're incompetent maybe until later.
Until after you're in office.
Half of them never. Hide behind their teams and paralegals and things who do all the real legwork and get things done. But, like, if we get to that point, we still have to unpack this whole just two-party system thing. And I say that as, like, the main thing because it was very apparent watching the Marco Rubio Val Dennings, the Florida debate. And it was extremely concerning to see two people that are so opposite in what they say and think. One, they lie, or rather they avoid answering questions. But two, they talked about the concept of abortion, and for everyone, I know it might be a sensitive topic, and that's fine. I understand that, but I don't get why everyone's understanding is not meeting in the middle on this thing.
Mm-hmm.
How can you think it should be all the way left and all the way right if we live in a country where we're kind of split down the middle?
Mm-hmm.
If you get your way, then someone else doesn't get
Someone
theirs.
else has to lose.
Yeah, and
with
it's
this topic being so sensitive, it's so many different variables around abortion.
there are, and we can't even begin to like honestly
Scientific
break them
ones,
down.
moral,
Yeah,
all that. So
oh my gosh, it's a million, and like we would literally have to dedicate a whole episode to going through all the alleys and avenues of it. But there was one part where he stated a statistic that there's a such thing as abortions when the child, like an abortion fails, and a child is stillborn, and the doctor does not have to provide care, and they let the baby baby die.
damn.
And I was just like,
And this is Rubio.
this is what he's explaining.
Okay.
And I think he said that we in 2021 we had like it was over 10 cases.
Wow.
And I was just thinking like,
Somebody's not doing it right.
I know we get to 9 months, but you're telling me the child comes out and the doctor doesn't have to provide care and the child's alive?
That sounds like murder.
It has to be. I mean, everyone says it's not a child until it's born.
Well,
that not birth?
But they saying that 6 weeks now.
I'm
yeah,
talking about Democrats that I've heard, liberals
but everybody
that I've heard.
can agree that yes.
I've never heard them say anything after that point. Everyone says that same point to me is that after they're born, that's life now.
It is. Yeah.
I mean, obviously, it's supremely nonsensical.
Right.
Absolutely.
But I have heard what they said.
It's
I've
a
heard
caterpillar alive, even when it goes and spins a cocoon. We'll even get into all of that. That's too deep. I just went deep. I just got real Plato and Socrates.
But it wasn't that bad though. But I know what you're saying.
You know what I'm saying? The logic doesn't add up. But
exactly.
I didn't know that was happening, and so that was like, and so he's saying this about the lady, and
hold on, bro. I'm sorry. I'm still stuck on that though. They let the baby get born. First of all, they
failed abortion.
They failed an abortion.
Yep.
The baby continued to grow. Was born, and they just let him die.
The doctor legally does not have to provide care. I could not believe this.
I got so many questions.
I was like, Florida, what are we doing?
Right, so
Florida,
many questions.
Why is Florida always like this? And I like Florida, man.
They say Florida's like its own country.
Florida's like crazy land. Everything in Florida
Everything is
like,
wild.
Woohoo! It's
Yeah.
like they really didn't like realize there's an internet and people know what y'all doing. Like people are watching Florida, just so y'all know. Like, but it blew my mind because then she didn't deny that she was okay with a policy like this existing. And it was like, excuse me, man, there is something to be pro-choice.
Yeah.
Which I don't get how something is pro-choice and then one is pro-life.
Right.
I mean, it's pro-life and pro-death. I digress. But to be pro-choice is completely fine.
Yeah.
But that's not, you're beyond that choice at that point to me. You are extremely beyond. Extremely beyond that point. And so it's like, it's crazy to extreme because if you're a Democrat, this lady, if you vote for her, will pass further bills that support ideologies like this. Now, the Republican candidate, and she said this to him back, and this is why I say it's like, it's so terrible with a two-party system. She's like, oh, but you said you would ban all abortions. And his response is, that type of bill will never happen. She's like, yeah, but are you saying you wouldn't or you would? He's like, that type of bill would never happen, so I would never have to sign anything like that. What I have signed is a bill that has concessions and agreements where we can meet in the middle. I'm like, yeah, that sounds good that you signed that.
Right.
However, you're avoiding her question because you know what your answer is. Your answer is as aggressive as her position.
Hers was, yeah.
Which is raise him till he's 23 and then murder him and, finish the abortion. Like, it's like wild to me.
Legally, they're not obligated to provide. I'm like, yeah, that's insane.
Wild. It's wild as him defending the point of a rape victim having a baby.
Right.
Are you crazy? Like Republicans, what are y'all smoking? And clearly, y'all have the same dealer as Democrats. Same dealer. It has to be the same dealer
To be on those
because,
opposite sides, but so extreme.
my God, how can anyone hear positions like this and ever think like, I want them in charge.
Right.
I
Right.
want him to make decisions.
Right.
It's
And
like,
that goes into me saying about people being confused too, because
Yeah.
like you said, again, this is just furthering my point about the confusion,
Yeah.
which is why like even sometimes, and I'm very educated, I'm pursuing my doctorate, that doesn't mean I'm the smartest person in the room or by any means, but it means
Top
that I
10.
can understand logic for sure. And sometimes I'm confused because I'm like, well,
Yeah.
what does this even mean? Like, or like you just said, are you even listening to yourself? Like, did you rehearse this? Did you
Yes.
tell anybody this thought that you had before and they thought this was okay?
That's the scary part, isn't it?
They
That
thought it was okay? You bounced this off of somebody already?
No, they did. They have a team.
Right.
Several people they all sat.
Somebody, this is the one. Yep. Go ahead. We're going to present this one.
This idea sounds good. It's unmovable. It's not flexible, and we'll only
extreme.
make concessions if we have to. And it's like, but that's
Exactly.
not a good way to be.
Right.
If you have to make a concession, why are you not starting from a point of being reasonable?
Mm-hmm.
And that's just one issue, and I brought it up because it's just like the hot button issue right now.
It is.
But I wanted to give an example. This is how they are pretty much on like every single position in terms of government spending, education, gun laws. Everything
is just
so
to the
unreasonable.
extreme, man.
They'll start sentences, and this is it's mind blowing to hear Democrats and liberals start sentences like, "We have so many people on the streets committing crimes with guns, and what we need to do is have stricter laws on people's ability to buy guns." It's like, but man, you think someone's doing a drive-by with a legal
With a
firearm?
legal gun, right?
And so the Republican candidate actually was like, somebody shot my house up. And I forgot his name. Oh my gosh.
The governor, right?
The governor. It was the New York State.
Zeldin?
Yes, Zeldin
like
versus Hochul.
Yeah.
That was the debate I was watching.
Yeah.
And Zeldin was like, someone shot my house up. They did a drive-by. He's like, you think that was with a legal gun?
Right.
I said, yeah, Democrats are crazy. I'm thinking in my head, I've been arguing this point for years.
Finally, someone
Definitely need gun laws because you know me. I had in my book I put the statistics for the amount of lost or stolen guns. Astronomical. We clearly need better gun laws because people wouldn't be losing their guns.
Well, you know what they're trying to do now too, like just to piggyback what you said is they're doing. I forget what the actual term is. It's like I forget what it's called, but like basically, if I bought a gun under my name and gave it to you, so what they're doing now is if someone was to purchase multiple weapons, the ATF will come to your house and they'll ask you basically, hey. Long story short, when you buy a gun now, it triggers like this code or whatever. ATF gets a hold of it, and they can come to your house and say, "Hey, I noticed on Wednesday the 8th or Wednesday the 9th, you purchased 2 shotguns. Do you have those weapons with you by chance?"
What?
And I mean, there's other things, whether you have to show them that you do have them or you don't have them, because whatever the case is. But straw, I think it's called straw purchases. That's the actual term, a straw purchase.
I don't like that.
If someone purchases a gun, they can give it to somebody else, and then they come and find that you don't have it. That's considered a straw purchase, and that's illegal. So that is one way that they're trying to crack down on it.
I don't like that one.
But the way of them doing it could also go against our Second Amendment rights to have the weapon anyway. So I
mean, I don't care what I buy. Like, if I bought something and somebody came and checked to see if I have it, that's kind of crazy, man. If you have a mortgage for your house and the bank shows up,
yeah,
I wouldn't like it.
Do you live here?
But you know,
I need to see Brandon real quick.
In fact, I think in some cases banks have the right to be able to prove residency in case you get a mortgage and you try to rent it out or have it as an Airbnb or whatever.
Yeah.
Right, and you didn't disclose this on the mortgage or the whatever you're getting. So, but with my firearm, no, I wouldn't like that. I don't want people randomly showing up saying you have to produce the firearm right now.
So it's it's a legal battle now, saying whether what your rights are as the purchaser of it,
But
especially if you're buying it legal. But there are a lot of people that are doing straw purchases, and that is one way they're trying to crack down on it.
and I get we need to come up with something. That's not a way. I agree, and I'm not saying
I don't
agreeing
agree with
it
that
either.
at
I'm
all.
just
As a legal gun
thinking
owner,
out
I
loud.
do not agree with that at all.
Yeah, that's just to me. It's excessive. The things that they and this is kind of what I meant, right? It's like they don't know how to come up with things that make sense because he had a great point, and in no way am I endorsing Zeldin because he said a smattering of other disappointing and crazy statements that were too far right, but he was very right on that point.
Yeah.
How do you think talking about stricter gun law, like she compared the incident that happened here in Buffalo
Yeah.
to like stricter gun laws, and it's like, but ma'am, that is an isolated incident, and I say isolated.
Unfortunately.
He's not affiliated with a company or group or organization that's trying to do whatever. This is a person who decided in his mind, who was clearly suffering from some, and I don't care what anyone says. I'm not defending him or creating excuse. It's a form of mental instability to go anywhere and just murder a bunch of people.
That's okay. Yeah.
That's mental instability. The same way anyone in a gang will go somewhere and just murder people. That's mental instability, and these people they also need jail time, but they need some help. No, seriously, they need help because we these are two different problems, but it's the same scenario of people in this world not really existing with the rest of us.
Right.
But you can't say we're gonna. If they enacted that same law you talked about, how would that stop the drive-by from happening?
It wouldn't.
It's no way.
Because that's not the only way that they're getting guns.
Stricter background checks. Well, if I can just buy 20 guns this year and then lose them next door to states that have less strict gun laws, or maybe like Indiana, which has a really high amount of lost guns, which is the border state for Chicago. Maybe, and maybe I'm not a detective. Maybe we should look into that.
Right.
But it makes sense. They also don't have a statistic that you can readily pull up that discusses the difference between crimes that are done with illegal firearms and illegal firearms. Because if they ever reproduce these statistics,
Don't have a lady stand on.
you wouldn't. It would like the Democrats will have to literally fold this position and say, you know what, we just want to take everybody's guns.
Yeah.
We just have to be honest with our extreme position. We need all the guns.
Like, hey, you know what? Fuck it. You called us.
You got us. We want babies to starve to death when they're born, and we want to take all your guns. Yeah. We want to be the only murderers, or we want your doctors to be the only murderers. And so it's like you see, even their positions are counterproductive.
Exactly.
Like,
are we saving lives or are we taking them?
We don't want to kill 30-year-olds. We want to just kill babies.
1 minute olds.
Oh my God, you guys make me not want abortion to exist, and I want women to have the option to choose between life or death for their offspring. It's your choice. It's not solely your choices. I don't understand the whole your choice, your body. That's a debate for another day because I think it's so complex.
It's so many variables, so situational.
But I still think women should be able to make decisions.
They should. But
the fact that these senators, these governors, these people that are going to be elected are making the decisions, it's wild because they're going to directly limit freedom of speech and freedom of choices.
I think that's a perfect example too, really quick, because everybody said that there's all old white men that are making these abortion decisions, and this clearly isn't the case in this situation. Isn't this a black woman?
Yeah, these are black Democrats that support these sorts of cases of extreme levels of abortion.
People that look just like us.
I mean, at some point we have to admit to ourselves that it's not a race thing. It's not an age thing. It's a two-party thing.
Two-party systematic thing.
You go left or you go right. And I can't even hate the candidates as much because I honestly think some of them, and this is just me, my humble opinion, I don't think all of them agree with the things they say. I think they know if I become this extreme on this point, I'll get my face out there.
Yeah.
They'll hear me. They'll
just
agree.
Talking points. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, because at this point it's like clout. You need to go viral.
Because can you win in the middle?
No, I haven't seen anybody win in the middle.
People, I don't really like this. He doesn't. I have no abortions ever, and it's like, okay, go drink some rum and die. But everyone, it's like I'm just only saying this because I rarely see people. you ever like look at social media comments and it's like any of these politicized events. So let's say like the Kanye West thing, right? We can jump into that topic of free speech and fully flip over. I know everyone's gonna have a opinion on the Kanye West thing. Uh,
Yeah, I try to stay focused, fully focused on the free speech aspect of it.
right, because that's all I care about. I don't really care about any of
What he's
the
saying,
rhetoric.
what it's directed to. Yeah,
I don't support it. It's a separate person from me.
hands off.
Now, and plus, I also don't know everything. I don't know what he's really talking about, referring to.
Yeah.
Some of the statements he's making are a little vague, even with the Kyrie, which is same wheelhouse but not same thing. It would require me to actually have a conversation to understand the vagueness of what they're saying.
Right.
They're just trying to say that you can't put these negative titles on us, which I agree. If you don't really understand, because I don't get how someone else is understanding when I clearly can.
Right.
Either way, if you go on these types of posts and these types of things when they happen, it's always like 50 people saying crazy things on the left or the right side of it. And then there's like one guy.
Couple, maybe 2 or 3 people.
Well, maybe it was free speech, but he could have phrased it better instead of trying to be so polarized.
Right, so that people can understand you.
And it's like, that guy got it.
But he had no likes on his comment, though, but all the other ones had thousands or a couple hundred or...
People out here suffering from yay brain. It's all those extreme comments, either hating him or loving him.
Right.
Get all the love. And it's like, yeah, but I mean, there might be a middle ground on this because he might be wrong, guys. Like, I think he did say some things that were actually not good to say.
Right.
Just being honest, like, if someone said that about black people, some of the things he was saying, I wouldn't feel good about it. But I do think there was a lot of truth in there.
Yeah.
He didn't lie about how there are a lot of deals that are being done in the entertainment industry where a particular group is profiting off of the success of entertainers.
Who are primarily a different
That is strictly
race.
just a fact. You look at the NBA, look at the history of the commissioners, look at the history of the owners.
Yeah.
We even had to fire an owner, Donald Sterling, for a particular comments.
Only because it was recorded.
Oh, right. And so it's a problem, but again, I can't agree with everything he said, but I would say people have the right to say some things. And I think where he differs from Kyrie, because I feel like after a while, it felt like it became less than him talking about a real thing to I'm just angry now.
I'm angry and the camera's in my face.
Right, because he said that in an apology later. It's like, man, I'm just, hurt people. And it was like, it started kind of feeling like that. Like, it wasn't like, he went from like, I'm upset about this thing that happened with me and these people to I'm just mad at everybody now.
You know what, though? The biggest thing with that statement, and some people say he never took accountability, but I'm going to say that's him being accountable for his emotions at that moment. For him to even just bring it to the head, like, listen, I'm just mad now. I'm just venting at this point.
That's what it felt like.
And what I think a lot of people should do, especially in these situations, is refrain from having comments until they actually have an understanding. Like, for instance, like the link that Kyrie posted, I think this is what this came from, right? Then he posted a link to like a movie or something like that, a documentary.
I don't even know if it was a link. He posted a picture of it.
A picture? Okay.
Picture or a link.
Well, people are trying to say he was promoting it or something like that, and he even came out and said that he didn't support everything in the film and all these different things. I didn't watch it. I don't know, what it contains necessarily. Neither do I really, care to an extent. But I just think that a lot of people who didn't watch the video, I think a lot of people are just piggybacking off of other people's comments. People are piggybacking off of other people's, comments, and like I said, comments and thoughts or reviews or, whatever the case is. And I think that the thing is, right, we live in such a piggyback society that I think that the moment you say something that, offends someone else or, somebody may misunderstand what you're saying, it kind of goes back to the conversation we had before about being canceled. You kind of got to like toe a line. You can't say the wrong thing because you're going to upset one group of people and they're going to, appear that they're marginalized or they're going to be the ones that play the victim. Meanwhile, sometimes the people that play the victim the most are the ones that are actually in power. You know what I'm saying? And but along what I was saying already, I think that it just sucks so bad that with us not having, like they say, you have freedom of speech, we don't have freedom of consequence. But I also think that you should be free of judgment unless you've done due diligence to actually look into what it is that I'm talking about, or even fact check, like what we were talking about with the debaters, you
Yeah.
know. And I don't think a lot of people have done their due diligence, and I think people are just quick to like piggyback off of, you know,
Someone
what
else's
other
talking
people's
point.
is talking point. Exactly.
That's right.
And it's just like we're just piling more and more piles of shit on top of it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So now it wasn't dirty, but it smells like shit. So because it smells like shit, I'm gonna just, you know, it just
That's what it is now. Yeah,
it's shit. Yeah,
rather than
it
be
changes
something
my
different.
perspective of it. Exactly.
Yeah, that's what I feel like happened, because just switching, because I think the two situations with them are very different.
Very
in that
different, right?
Kanye's, to me, it became a rant. It became hating someone else because of what happened to him. Whether y'all feel like he's right or wrong, that's not. I don't care about his personal opinions. It did become what it became, and that's very different from Kyrie.
And I want to clarify. I was more so speaking towards the Kyrie situation more than the
Yeah,
Kanye situation.
that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I get what you were going with that, because I agree. Kyrie, it was, to me, it's very different what he did in terms of, one. I don't feel like it was a promotion. I don't think just anything you post on your social media is like you saying I agree with every single thing in this. That's not realistic. Like, I've watched movies that I said are good movies. I read books. I've seen plays, things like that.
Hung out with people.
Back here, just had some technical difficulties, but we're back. But what I was saying was, with the whole Kyrie Irving thing, man, I think we're at a point where people are not allowed to express how they feel in society, and it's less about what is being said and more about, can someone express what it is that they want to express.
Yeah.
Because in what he stated, it's like if I watch it in a documentary or listen to a song or whatever, I don't have to agree with every single thing in that production, in that creation. It's not possible. No one has a song, or it's very few songs, I should say, that are made where you agree with every single thing the person said in the song, or every album, or every song on the album.
Correct.
That's not how you feel when you listen to someone's project or art piece or whatever it is. Like, you're going to listen to this podcast and you might not like every single opinion or statement, but like, it's ours to have.
Right. And we should be allowed to think out loud.
That's it.
Like you can change. Just because I say something today doesn't mean that I wholeheartedly believe that thing tomorrow.
I might get new information.
I might get new information.
Yeah.
I may have had a chance to sleep on it. Maybe I might want to double down on it. Maybe I don't. But it's just like, you can't hold me to something, especially when I should be free for expression, free to express.
Right. To me, it's almost as insane as, like, so I look at these situations. I find it very ironic that they're coming. I don't really find it ironic. I find it funny because it's coming on the eve of the Wakanda movie coming out, the Wakanda Forever, and it's hilarious because I know they say or show a lot of black people that enjoy the movie, like the movie, this and that. Me personally, didn't like the first one. Thought it was trash in terms of the storyline. A lot of money went into it, a lot of good acting, sure, all of that good stuff. But in terms of what actually occurred, didn't enjoy it. Didn't like how they portrayed T'Challa. He seemed weak and was a man who was bossed around by other people. The villain was the guy who I felt resonated with the most. And yet,
yeah, it's crazy, the villain though, right?
Right, he's the villain, and yet he was the person I feel like, and I got that from a lot of people. People who thought the movie was great loved Killmonger.
He had a lot of good feedback.
It was one of those moments where it's like, why you love them is because you resonate with him.
Yeah,
you don't really resonate with T'Challa.
Right.
And so I thought that was very, very weird that people would say that was a great movie. But I also can understand that point of view because people don't have to have the same opinion as me.
Right.
Like, everyone should be entitled to loving that if they want to. The same way the creators, producers, the directors, writers, they all got the ability to tell that story.
Right.
And let's not forget, this is a story about black people written by white people.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's why I was kind of saying a little bit of irony.
That's kind of what like that was the Woman King or something like that. Too,
Oh
right?
yeah, same
idea.
concept with the Woman King.
Right.
It's interesting to hear someone else tell you a story and then tell you about who you are.
Mm-hmm.
And that's kind of what these two entertainers
and almost
are,
who you're supposed to be.
Right. It's what these two entertainers are kind of up against.
Mm-hmm.
Is they're telling a group of people who they are and what they're supposed to be, and yet now it's, oh, you're this,
Right.
you're you're anti this,
all
and it's
these
like
labels.
but someone else can write our story.
Right.
Someone can write our story, but we can't tell somebody else what their story is, and both can say it's history.
Right.
Because they pitched the Woman King as history.
Story. Yeah.
The Woman King was pitched as like, oh, this is truth. In reality, the Doja Mallory were not the Doja Mallory. That's who they're based off of the woman in the Woman King. I forgot what they're called, but in real life, they were the slavers. They were the enslavers.
Okay.
And so the women of the Dahomey people, they were the people who were profiting heavily off of selling black people as slaves.
Wow.
And the Woman King flipped it and made it, oh, well, we wanted to stop it and we want to save everyone. But that's not what happened.
The truth, right.
Yeah, so like you're writing a story and you're changing history, but if anyone else has an opinion that goes against it, but they're anti this.
Right.
But
Well, then, if that's the case, then aren't you anti something too? Then
you would,
listen,
listen,
we're gonna throw labels out there.
I mean, this is where I think why you captured it so well earlier when you were like, it's confusion. Because God forbid if black people would have stood up and said, hey, we don't like that. I'm not saying black people did, and they did. It was a lot. But we didn't gain nearly as much traction as these stories are getting. And it's sad because they dedicated an entire movie to this, made millions of dollars off of this thing. Neither one of them made millions of dollars off of these remarks.
Right. They lost millions of dollars.
They lost billions, right? Billions of dollars.
Truth, yeah.
Hundreds of millions and billions of dollars. And yet, we took not a red cent from anyone. Those directors and writers who wrote those lies in The Last Woman King are going to make more movies. They're going to make more lies about our history. They're going to distort it even further, probably. The one woman, Christina Prince Blythe, the one who directed Love and Basketball, she's going to go continue to make terrible stories where women play these ineffectual, masculine characters who don't know how to be, which is crazy. People are both masculine and feminine. But she's always like, choose one. Or dominate men. And it's so weird how the movie she's chosen to do. But it just struck me as funny because...
It's crazy, real quick. I'm sorry when you said Love and Basketball. She was even so gung-ho about it that she was willing to put her life on the line to go against this man. Well, I don't know what she was betting. She bet her heart or something? Let's bet our heart. Like, yeah,
whatever she bet, it was too much.
Too much.
That was definitely the case. It was definitely too much. And so, but, I think when it comes down to free speech, it's just how free is it really in this country at this point? Like, I feel like we're at a crossroads where we have to start thinking about, one, you have to think about what you say, but I think it's crazy that someone else can control the narrative on what it is you're trying to say.
Exactly.
Plus, I also think it's crazy that if you like a piece of art or something like that, it doesn't mean you have to agree with every single thing about that art or that work.
That's the biggest thing. I think that's what people got to remember. It doesn't make you 100% something.
Yeah, no one's 100% anything, right? For the most part.
I drive a red car, but that doesn't mean red's my favorite color.
Right, exactly, because we're not all one way.
Right.
And so, but at the end of the day, man, you guys let me know if you guys like the video, like the content, subscribe. Keep tuning in. I'm going to drop the Portugal vlog video stuff in the next few days as well after this releases. So, check that out. But in the meantime, man, appreciate you guys. Aren't you glad I said it? Peace.